ask a favor? Somebody's lost their notebook, and I've got to figure out who it is.
We'd love to help, Mr. Grange, but, well, Aunt Miranda is on a big story right now. A priceless Hilliard miniature was stolen from the Victoria and Albert Museum this afternoon. And we were kinda hoping she'd call us in to help investigate.
But Jennifer, this notebook's an electronic one, like the one you use. I can't figure it out, and I'm sure the owner needs it very badly. Please come meet me at the British Museum. I'm in the curator's office.
Well, okay, Mr. Grange, we'll be right over. Bye. Hey, let's write a note to Jake to let him know we're on a case. He was hoping to be back soon. Dear Jake, we're on a case from Mr. Grange. Call us if Aunt Miranda needs any help. You can watch my movie videos while we're gone. Try Forgotten Planet. You'll like that one. Jen. There's Mr. Grange, and that must be the electronic notebook he was talking about. Gee, it looks like a neat one. But not as unspeakably cool as our notebook Travis, of course.
This morning, I had 3 very distinguished American professors come to visit me. They were all carrying notebooks like this one here. We had a delightful chat, then they went on to the Victoria and Albert Museum.
And one of them left a notebook behind?
Actually, no. The Ritz Hotel had it sent round after them. The chap there said someone had found a notebook, and he knew that the professors had come to see me today. I said I would try to return the notebook to the professor who lost it. We must hurry, because they each are going to leave Britain tonight. Mr. Chrysler is flying to Argentina, Mr. Randall is sailing for Sweden, and Miss Phelps is taking the ferry to France. If I could figure out whose notebook it is, I would know whether to send it to the airport, or to the docks, or to the ferry landing, before the professor who owns it leaves the country.
Who are these professors exactly? And if they all had electronic notebooks just like this one, who left one at the Ritz early this morning?
They left a little brochure from the university here. It will have some background on each of them. It's over by the computer on my desk. I definitely remember that all 3 had a notebook just like this one. Mr. Chrysler said they were helping a friend test out a new model of laptop computer. You can't buy it yet in the stores, so those 3 are the only ones in existence.
But here we have a 4th notebook. How weird.
It is strange. Oh well, maybe a clue inside the notebook will reveal who the owner is. I tried to use it, but I don't know how to work the infernal machine.
Travis is way better than this. Not to brag or anything. Man, it's even hard to find the on-off switch. I get it. You press Authority N for notes, and the text comes up. Whoever owned this made only a few entries, all of them dated yesterday. Here, I'll read them. The first one reads, I have never seen such an awesome palace. The mural by Verrio above the stairs in the entrance hall is spectacular. There's nothing quite like it in Wyoming. Here's another one. Towers, huge, walls impossibly thick. From on top you feel you command the river Avon and everything you've seen. The whole thing is in remarkably good shape. Did you catch that? It says you command everything you've seen, rather than everything you see. Whoever wrote that doesn't know English too well. This one says peaceful, lovely. I can see how it might inspire the bard to write great works, but it just bores the daylights out of me, especially considering how exciting tomorrow will be. Next it says, my companion is droning on about the psychology of this place and what motivated people to build this famous stone circle. He's dull, but I'm thrilled to finally see this ancient construction. Here's the last entry. It was made late last night. Hasta la vista, computer. That's so weird. It doesn't seem like we have much to go on, does it? Maybe Jake could help us figure out what these mean. Hey Jake, we've got to return an electronic notebook to its owner. We know it belongs to one of 3 college professors from the U.S. Mr. Chrysler, Mr. Randall, or Miss Phelps. It looks like one of them accidentally threw it out and kept the dud demonstration model by mistake. They went sightseeing yesterday, and the notes in this electronic notebook describe some of the places they went. If we can figure out where they went, we can follow in their footsteps and maybe turn up some more clues. Speaking of clues, have you heard anything from Aunt Miranda? Have they found the missing Hilliard miniature yet?
Aunt Miranda called from the Victoria and Albert Museum. The police have it sealed off while they hunt for the miniature. Nobody's got any clues. Scotland Yard is in a panic. Every inspector is on the case. Aunt Miranda thinks the thief got away.
Hey Jake, what exactly is a miniature? I thought the word just meant something small.
Aunt Miranda told me a miniature was a tiny painting, originally. Before there were photographs, people would have artists paint their portraits really small so that the people they loved could carry them around. Nicholas Hilliard is famous as one of the best painters of miniatures. His portraits are really accurate and detailed, and they're only a few inches tall. Okay, now we need to figure out these notes, so we know where you guys should go next. Why don't we call Mr. Sneed to help us? He knows a lot about England.
Do you think he'd mind? He can be pretty testy sometimes. Well, okay, but you make the call, Jake.
British Library. Mr. Sneed here. What is it?
Hiya, Mr. Sneed. Good day, sir. It's Jake Eagle. Listen, some American professors left us some notes about where they were going in England, and we need your help to figure them out. Could you help us out, please?
I suppose. As long as we don't take all day. Now, what do the notes say?
The first note mentions an awesome palace and an entrance hall containing a mural by Verrio. I think maybe they mean Windsor Palace. What do you think?
Well, we have many awesome palaces here in England, but the mural by Verrio most likely refers to Hampton Court. Verrio did the artwork for the entrance hall. It's marvelous.
Hampton Court. Great. Quite right, sir. Now, the second note talks about huge towers and thick walls in remarkably good shape. We think they mean a castle, and it overlooks the River Avon.
Aha! I would guess that the note was written on the battlements of Warwick Castle. From the tops of the towers, one looks right down on the River Avon, the town of Warwick, and the countryside all around.
Warwick Castle. Excellent. Excellent, sir. The next note talks about a place lovely enough to inspire the bard. Wait, the bard is like William Shakespeare's nickname, so the note probably is talking about
William Shakespeare's birthplace in Stratford-upon-Avon. It's quite a peaceful place at times, with a lovely garden. Glad I could help out your little quest, Jake. But I must be going. A librarian's work never ends. Goodbye.
He hung up. Never mind, Jennifer. I think we know where the last note was written. The famous stone circle has got to be Stonehenge. England has many stone circles, but Stonehenge is by far the most famous.
The professors went to sightsee in 4 different places. Boy, am I glad I brought along my book, Ivanhoe. I think I'm going to get a lot of reading done today. Which place do you think will give us the best clues? Pick that one and let's go there first. Our shortest train trip is to Hampton Court. It's only a little ways outside of London. I'd forgotten just how awesome this palace is, and the entrance hall is extreme, just like the notebook said. I'm sure we're on the trail of the 3 professors.
Yes, I remember the 3 Americans quite distinctly. 2 men and a woman. Cultured and well-spoken for the most part. Not like your typical tourists who grouse about the prices and can never locate the loo, no matter how many signs we put up. They had a decent itinerary, too. That means they had planned some excellent stops on their holiday. Yesterday they saw Hampton Court and Warwick Castle, I remember. Today they were going to the British Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum. They said they came from some beastly part of America, Arizona or some such desolate place. They had quaint little computers and were forever jotting notes on them.
One of them left a computer behind at the Ritz Hotel, Mrs. Presswick, and we're trying to figure out which one it was. Maybe if you hear what they said about Hampton Court, you'll know which one wrote it.
Possibly. Go ahead and read me what he or she wrote.
I have never seen such an awesome palace. The mural by Verrio above the stairs in the entrance hall is spectacular. There is nothing quite like it in Wyoming.
Not very poetic, is it? I'm sorry, but any one of the three could have written that about Hampton Court.
You know, I bet the English professor, Miss Phelps, insisted that they go to Shakespeare's garden. Shakespeare's like the superhero of the English language. Off to Stratford-upon-Avon, the birthplace of the great playwright William Shakespeare. Holy smokes! Isn't that Inspector Blodgett all dressed up like a tourist? Somehow I don't think he's here on holiday. Let's find out what's up.
Why, Jennifer, good to see you. Having a jolly holiday? Good, good. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Gee, we were surprised to find you here, Inspector. We thought for sure you'd be back in London investigating the theft of the Rail Hilliard miniature from the Victoria and Albert Museum.
Hush! I mean, please be quiet. You'll ruin everything. We have evidence that the thief, a suspect, was here yesterday. It's very important that I investigate in secret. So please, move along, move along.
No problemo, Inspector. Sorry, see you later. Geez, but how about that? It sounds like the thief of the Hilliard miniature was in this garden yesterday. I wonder if the professor saw her. Or him. Hooray, we're off to Warwick Castle. I just love that place. Maybe if we take a look around the castle, we can tell for sure if it's the same place that was described in the notebook.
Hello, children. Would you like a tour about the castle?
We have just a few questions, Ms. Maudhe. Do you know if 3 American professors visited this castle yesterday?
I'm afraid I cannot tell you. Yesterday was my day off. But why would you want to know? What kind of professors were they?
One of them, Mr. Chrysler, is a professor of architecture. Mr. Randall is a professor of psychology. And Ms. Phelps is an English professor. She studies the English language. She's actually an American. One of them left an electronic notebook behind at the Ritz Hotel, Ms. Maudhe. We're trying to figure out which one it was, so we can return the notebook to him or her. Whoever owned the notebook wrote something in it about a castle. They said it was in remarkably good shape. Is that true of Warwick Castle?
Yes, indeed. Most castles have fallen into ruin, because at some point their owners couldn't afford the tremendous cost of keeping them in repair. But this castle actually had people living in it not all that long ago. Nowadays, Warwick Castle is kept in repair as a tourist attraction and as a precious piece of Britain's cultural heritage.
Whew, that's quite a climb. Over 500 steps from the bottom all the way to the top. But the view really is wild. Now that we're here, let's compare what we see with what's written in the notebook. It says towers huge, walls impossibly thick. Yep, we've sure seen that. From on top you feel you command everything you've seen. There's that bad grammar again. But it's true. From up here you do feel like you command everything you see. To live in a castle like this, that must have really been something. Here we go, us and probably a zillion other tourists on their merry way to Stonehenge on the Salisbury Plain. I'll bet you the architecture professor, Mr. Chrysler, wanted to visit Stonehenge. Architecture is all about people building things, and Stonehenge is one of the most famous structures ever built. This must be the famous stone circle mentioned in the notebook. Let's see if there's anyone here who might remember seeing the 3 American professors yesterday.
Why, yes, I remember the 3 Americans. They all had little computer thingamybobs. Rather like yours, in fact.
Did they all take notes with their little computers?
Oh, yes, I believe so. One of the men took quite a lot of notes. The whole place fascinated him. I'm afraid that's all I remember about them.
Professor Mathan, we have a question about professors.
One of the things that professors do is answer questions. So ask away.
We're interested in 3 American professors that visited Stonehenge yesterday. One studies architecture, another one studies psychology, and the third is a professor of English.
Well, architecture is the study of the structures that people build. Architects are interested in both the art and the science of buildings. Not only big buildings, like skyscrapers, but also little buildings, like homes. Psychology is the study of the human mind and how it works. Psychologists are interested in the things people do and why they do them. That's called motivation. Why did people build Stonehenge, for example? No one really knows. An English professor studies the English language and how it communicates. English professors are interested not only in the rules of language, like grammar and spelling, but also in seeing how the language changes over time. English professors often study the writing of famous authors to see how they use the English language to communicate their ideas. And many English professors teach classes in how to write in English. I myself am a professor of ancient history. And now, if you don't mind, I need to get back to my research.
Cecil Grange said the notebook was actually found here at the Ritz Hotel. Let's see if we can talk to the people who found it.
Mrs. Plum found the notebook in one of the upstairs rubbish bins. I recognized it as belonging to one of the American guests. Each of them had one of these fancy electronic notebooks. One of them even gave a demonstration to some of our guests in the lobby. He had a demonstration model, a hollowed-out version of the real thing that he let people handle. I'm afraid he meant to pitch that one out, but mistakenly tossed out this real working model instead. The Americans had all planned to visit Mr. Grange at the British Museum today, so I rang him up. Unfortunately, they'd already left his office, but he agreed to find the little computer's owner, so I sent it right over.
Mr. Herrick, can you tell us anything about the 3 American professors? We're trying to figure out which one the notebook belonged to.
Well, let me see. They all arrived together the night before last. Yesterday, I believe they went out sightseeing together all day. They asked directions to the train station. They each checked out this morning, leaving no forwarding addresses.
Do you have any idea where they were going today?
They mentioned the Victoria and Albert Museum, I believe. I heard them ring Mr. Grange, and they also called other people. Then they planned to go their separate ways. I'm afraid that's all I can tell you.
Did they by any chance return to the hotel after they checked out?
Oh, no. I was watching for them. If they had, I could have given them back their little computer.
Aye, dearie. 'Twas I who found the thingamajig. Stuffed into a whole rubbish bin it was, amidst the tatters of yesterday's London Times. What's all this, says I, when I feel it drop from the can. Somebody can't be intending to pitch this out, I tell myself. So I fishes it out and dusts it off, and pops it down to Mr. Eric here. One of the guests pitched it by mistake, I tells him.
That was a super find, Mrs. Plum. Do you have any idea who might have thrown out the electronic notebook?
No, dearie. Now I best be getting back about me business. You'd never believe how many rooms I've got left to tidy up.
Good going. Pick out the clues that tell us which professor owns that notebook. Good. Now point out the professor we need to find before he or she leaves the country. You got it. The notebook belonged to Mr. Chrysler. He is the one who stole the Hilliard miniature. Mr. Grange told us the professors all studied different things. One studied architecture, one studied psychology, and one was an expert on the English language. When we saw a grammatical error in the notebook, we knew it didn't belong to the English professor. She spent most of her life learning how to use spelling, grammar, and punctuation correctly to write clearly and well. One entry made fun of a companion who talked endlessly about the motivations of the people who built Stonehenge. Psychology is the science that studies human behavior, including motivation. So Professor Randolph was the thief's companion, not the thief himself. That only leaves one professor, Professor Chrysler. So he must be the one who stole the Hilliard miniature and almost got away with it.